Very good. Thanks for joining us on the news at 7 on NTA International. First, let's take the headlines. I'm Comfort Ahmad. Muslims in Nigeria commemorate Feast of Sacrifice caused by Islamic clerics for peaceful coexistence. Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole neutralized several Islamic State of West Africa province fighters at Kolaram of Borno State. And debt toll rises in eastern China as Typhoon Lekima moves further north of coast of Shandong province. And now the news in detail. The Muslim faithful in Nigeria this Sunday joined their counterparts across the world in marking the Feast of Sacrifice, better known as Eid-el-Kabir. President Muhammadu Buhari and his Guinean counterpart, President Alpha Conde, worshipped at Kofar Arewa Eid ground in the Asian town of Daura, Katsina State. State House correspondent the Musambo reports that a colorful Daba was held in honor of the two leaders.
It was another moment of historical significance for the people of the ancient town of Daura as President Muhammadu Buhari, his counterpart from the Republic of Guinea, Alpha Conde, and Governor Aminu Bello Masari arrived at the community's Eid ground for worship. Family, friends, and acquaintances of the president from across the emirate were already on hand, including the paramount ruler of the kingdom, Emir Farouk Umar Farouk. The chief imam of Daura, Safiano Yusuf Ansawai, who led the 2-rakat congregational prayer, admonished the Ummah to remain prayerful against all adversities of life and indeed thankful to Allah for his enormous blessings. Their trust in the Almighty, he emphasized, must be kept alive, so also the virtues of sacrifice, obedience, justice, tolerance, love for one another, and indeed care for those in need. Special prayers were offered to Allah for protection and guidance of the Nigerian leader and his Guinean counterpart, as well as for peace, unity, stability, and development of the two countries. Governor Aminu Bello Masari of Katsina State and the Emir of Daura, Farouk Umar Farouk, used the opportunity to appreciate the efforts of their worthy son, President Muhammadu Buhari, at selflessly taking Nigeria to the next level for sustainable future of the country. Emir Farouk in particular reassured the president of continued support, cooperation and understanding of his people and prayed Allah to continue to protect and guide him aright. As a mark of respect, President Alpha Conde of the Republic of Guinea was given the honor to perform the symbolic ram slaughtering, demonstrating the total obedience to the will of Allah as exemplified by Prophet Ibrahim. A mammoth crowd of well-wishers later converged along the major street of Daura to catch a glimpse as well as show appreciation, support and goodwill to the Nigerian leader and his guests as they headed home from the Eid ground. Why Salah celebration in Nigeria? A question posed by NTA News to the Guinean leader Alpha Conde.
Parce que j'ai beaucoup de respect pour le président Buhari.
I have come to support my brother, an African leader who is committed to the transformation of Nigeria, who is committed to fighting corruption, who is committed to bringing peace, security and counter-terrorism in Nigeria. These are not easy tasks, but I'm here to support him. I know he has made enemies. I know it is not easy, but once Nigeria is well governed, Africa will also be uplifted. So it's our duty to come here to support him. And just like the Emir said, he's an honest man, a sincere man, a patriot who is committed to his people. So this is a value that is rare in Africa. And it's my duty to come here today to be with him.
Feeling satisfied and indeed honored by President Conde's visit, President Muhammadu Buhari restated his resolute commitment to selflessness in national service for sustainable growth and development of the economy.
I feel quite honored by the President of Guinea, who came and spent the time with us here in Daura and see the typical one of Nigerians' way of celebrating this great day.
Insecurity is still a major issue and corruption, as you say, is still fighting back. What can you assure the people of Nigeria?
We are doing our best within the system and we are remaining steadfast.
In the meantime, a special Daba was organized by the Emir of Daura, Farouk Umar Farouk, in honor of the visiting Guinean leader Alpha Conde. President Conde, accompanied by President Muhammad Buhari and the Katsina State Governor Aminu Bello Masari, was treated to a spectacular show of horsemanship, courage and agility by a retinue of the Emir's regimental guards and servants of the Emir's palace.
It's a sign of appreciation, of respect and recognition for the honor he has done to our president by coming here to Daura.
Salah celebrations continue in Daura. From Daura, Katsina State, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And Eid-el-Kabir, one of the two Eid traditions of the Prophet Muhammad, Muslims are admonished to observe annually. Abdullahi Musa Sileji reports on the Eid-el-Kabir prayer held at the National Eid Ground in Abuja.
Though not an obligatory prayer, Eid prayer is highly recommended for Muslims to mark either of the Eids in Islam. And in compliance with this, Muslim faithful in Abuja went to different Eid grounds, dressed in good attires, and also left home early to be at the ground, which are mostly at the outskirts of the town or city. The young and the old, male and female, all attend the Eid congregation, and arrival of the Murshid of the National Mosque heralded the prayers.
Allahu Akbar.
As ordained in Islam, the congregation waited after the 2 rakat prayer for the Imam's sermon. This year, Murshid of the National Mosque, Professor Shehu Galadanchi, admonished Muslims to refrain from the evil deeds, seek Allah's guidance, and work toward peaceful coexistence.
Allah Almighty says, "On that day will men proceed in companies sorted out, to be shown the deeds that they have done."
The Murshid slaughtered the sacrificial ram, paving the way for others to do so as soon as they return home from the Eid ground. Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Nigerians have been assured of positive results in the fight against insecurity in the country. Sultan Mohammed Saad Abubakar said this in an Eid-el-Kabir message to Nigerians. More on this with Shehu Mohammed Datti.
The Sultan described security threat as a global phenomena, hence the need for all to work towards curtailing the menace. He commended security agencies, governments and politicians, urging them to strive hard towards ending insurgency and insecurity in Nigeria. The Sultan said measures put in place by relevant stakeholders are impressive, assuring Nigerians that they will soon see the impact. Sultan Muhammad Saad emphasized on the need for government to provide job opportunities and encourage food production at all levels. He implored Nigerian pilgrims to pray for the nation's security and bumper harvest this cropping season. The Sultan called for peaceful coexistence, love for one another, and respect for each other's view. In Sokoto, Shehu Muhammad Detti, NTA News.
And 2 rakat Eid-el-Kabir prayers were observed peacefully at more than 300 locations across Kano State. Abdullahi Mustafa was at the Kano Central Eid ground where the prayers were held.
The Kofarmata Eid ground is traditionally where Governor and Emir of Kano come and worship on a day like this. Most residents of the ancient city, politicians, members of the business and diplomatic communities also join them. The 2 rakat prayers were led by Emir Muhammad Sanusi II. In a sermon, the Emir admonished Muslims to uphold the spirit of sacrifice as exemplified by Prophet Abraham. He also enjoined them to support the less privileged among them as practiced by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Governor Abdullah Umar Ganduje, while congratulating Muslims on the Eid-el-Kabir celebrations, urged them to use the season in praying for peace, unity and sustainable development of the country. At the end of the Eid prayers, Emir Muhammad Sanusi II sacrificed 2 rams to pave the way for other Muslims to commence theirs. Thereafter, the Emir led other traditional title holders in the emirate in observing the traditional Salah Doba, at the end of which he and Governor Abdullah Umar Ganduje exchanged Salah greetings. In Kano, Abdullah Mustafa, NTA News.
And from the northeast, Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, comes a report that hundreds of Muslim Ummah, including Governor Babagana Umar and the Sheikh of Borno, converged on Ramat Square Eid prayer ground for the 2 rakat prayer to usher in the Eid-al-Adha celebration. Mohammed Goni reports that the prayer was performed peacefully across Borno state with security operatives on hand to maintain law and order.
The 2 rakat prayer was led by the Imam Ideni of Borno, Shetima Muhammad Saleh. In his sermon, the Imam extolled the virtues of the Eid-el-Adha, describing it as the day Allah showered his mercy on Ibrahim, who was commanded to sacrifice his son but replaced with a sacrificial animal. He enjoined faithful to emulate Prophet Ibrahim and his son Ismail in obedience and repair of Allah. Imam Shetima Saleh also reminded faithful to intensify praises and glorify their Creator in the next 3 days commencing from today, and further urged the faithful and all Nigerians to pray for peace to reign in the country. In a Salah message immediately after performing the sacrifice at the government house, Governor Babagana Umar thanked the federal government, the Nigerian armed forces and other security operatives for their efforts to end the security challenges in the state and the northeast.
We shall make best use of the established corridor by the federal government, Operation SEP Corridor, to receive all those people who are willing, the Sarandis who are willing to come back home.
Meanwhile, the immediate past governor of Borno State, Senator Kashim Shettima, stressed the need for unity among citizens of Borno in the effort to end the security challenges in the state and enjoined all to rally around the present administration. He made the call when Governor Babagana Umar paid him Salah visit at his residence in Maiduguri. Governor Babagana Umar appreciated Senator Kashim Shettima for his continued support and pledge to carry everyone along in the scheme of things. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
And in the southwest, this Muslim faithful observed the 2 rakat prayers in commemoration of the Eid-el-Kabir celebration. The people of Osun State have been enjoined to live a pious and sacrificial life. Femi was at the central Eid prayer ground in Osogbo and now reports.
Muslims, gaily dressed, trooped to the Eid praying ground along Okebale, Osogbo, to offer the 2 rakat prayers to commemorate this year's Eid-el-Kabir. Chief Imam of Osogbo Land, Sheikh Musa Animashaun, in a sermon, wants Muslims to imbibe the lessons of Eid-el-Kabir, which are humility, kindness, love, and peace. He believes that if piety remains the people's watchword, Nigeria will survive its current security challenges. Osun State Governor Boyega Oyetola is swinging for peace and unity in the state.
You should have absolute faith in Almighty Allah. Once you have faith, you can surmount any problem in life. This state is known for peace. I want the peace to continue.
Ataja of Osogbo Land, Obajimo Olanipekun, including prominent sons and daughters of Osogbo Land, were also part of the congregation. In Osogbo, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
And it was also a peaceful atmosphere at the Eid ground, 82 Division Nigerian Army Cantonment Enugu, as Muslim Ummah commemorated Eid-el-Kabir. Comfort Ain reports that messages from that area also focus on peace, love, and sacrifice.
It was a peaceful atmosphere at the Eid ground, 82 Division Nigerian Army Cantonment Enugu, as Muslim faithful this Sunday gathered in one accord to pray to Allah in appreciation of His love and mercy upon their lives. Sergeant Abdul Karim Muhammad led the 2 rakat prayer on behalf of the Chief Imam. In his teachings, Sergeant Muhammad centered on love, almsgiving, and sacrifice for a peaceful coexistence. Climax of the event was the slaughtering of ram, in line with the significance and lessons of the annual feast. A time to reflect on the lifestyle of Prophet Muhammad in piety to Almighty Allah. It was also same message of love and sacrifice at the Islamic Center Uwani Enugu, another Eid ground for Muslim faithful in this zone. The Chief Imam Said Surkanani, who led the 2 rakat prayer, enjoined Nigerians to embrace peace and love, for a better society. Security operatives were on red alert to ensure security of lives and property while the celebration lasted. In Enugu, Comfort Ayim, NTA News.
Many thanks, Comfort, for that report. There are more reports after this break. Many thanks for staying tuned with us on the news at 7 on NTA News International. And as pilgrims continue all the stages of the Hajj exercise, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has urged Nigerians to prioritize prayers for the country. Lami Ali reports that President of the Senate is among Nigerian pilgrims for this year's Hajj.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, emphasized that there is need for understanding among Nigerians, as the present government is committed and has the political will to make life better for all citizens, irrespective of ideological, religious, ethnic or regional differences.
Those of us in elected positions, especially those of us in the National Assembly, we have decided and we are determined to work with the President, the executive arm of government, to ensure that we address those development and challenges in the country. So we need the understanding of Nigerians. Nigerians have already spoken in this year in the elections, and therefore what we need to do is to go along together with leadership of the country.
He says sustained prayers are required for the leadership in its determination to improve all sectors.
It is a very important day for all Muslims across the world. And because this is not an occasion that only Muslims really pray, I believe that across the country in Nigeria, our citizens across all the religious persuasions and divisions will pray for Nigeria to come out of these challenges that we are facing.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, also on the occasion of Arafat, organized a special prayer session for Nigeria.
Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Malik, Ya Quddus, Ya Salam, Ya Mumin, Ya Muhaymin, Ya Aziz, Ya Jabbar, Ya Mutakabbir, Ya Khaliq, Ya Bar, Ya Musawwir, Ya Ghaffar.
Pilgrims have in the meantime been carrying out other Hajj rites, such as throwing of pebbles at the Jamarat, a symbolic reenactment of actions by Prophet Ibrahim. In Muna, Saudi Arabia, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And in the euphoria of the season, the federal government has declared Monday 12th and Tuesday 13th August as public holidays to mark the 2019 Eid-el-Kabir celebrations. In a statement signed by the Director, Press and Public Relations, Mohammed Manga, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, Georgina Ikioma, who made the declaration on behalf of the federal government, congratulated the Muslim faithful on the occasion. She called on all Nigerians at home and in diaspora to use the period of celebration to embrace the virtues of love, humility, peace and sacrifice as exemplified by the Holy Prophet Muhammad. She also urged Nigerians to shun any form of disruptive tendencies and join hands with the federal government to build a peaceful, strong and united Nigeria. Moving on, the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has neutralized several Islamic State of West Africa province ISWAP fighters at the multiple locations within Kolaram, a settlement on the fringes of Lake Chad in the northern part of Borno State. In a statement by Nigerian Air Force Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ibikunle Daramola, the operation, which was conducted on the 9th of August 2019 is part of the ongoing Operation Green Sweep 3, targeted 3 compounds in the village, where human intelligence reports indicates that the ISWAP fighters were concentrated, following confirmatory intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance missions which showed significant presence of the terrorists in the designated areas. The ATF scrambled 3 Alpha jet aircraft to attack the locations. The munitions of the jets hit the desired points of impact of the targets causing damage to the buildings and neutralizing dozens of the terrorists. And for the World in 6 Days segment of the news, let's join Adebola Brooksland Sunday.
Welcome to another edition of World in 6 Days, where we review some stories that made headlines from outside Nigeria. We told you that relatives of people murdered under the regime of Gambia's former ruler Yahya Jammeh expressed outrage over the release of 3 self-confessed assassins. The men, who were members of a paramilitary unit known as the Junglers, the 3 soldiers Malik Jatta, Omar Jallo and Amadou Beje, have been under detention since their arrest by the military police in 2017 when President Adama Barrow took over office after winning elections in December 2016. We also told you that the World Food Programme says it would resume the distribution of food to 850,000 people in Yemen's capital Sana'a after it was stopped for 2 months, having reached an agreement with the Iran-aligned Houthi authorities. The UN agency halted some aid in Sana'a on June 20 out of concerns that food were diverted from vulnerable people. It, however, maintained nutrition programs for malnourished children, pregnant and nursing mothers. The warring parties in Yemen's conflicts have both used access to aid and food as a political tool, a situation the United Nations called the world's worst humanitarian crisis, with high rates of severe malnutrition among children. We reported that most Rwandans were barred from crossing to Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo over fears of spreading the Ebola disease, despite the 2 countries' health ministers' agreement that economic activities should not be hindered by cases of the disease in Goma, a city of about 2 million people and a regional commercial hub. On the Rwandan side of the border, only Rwandans with official work identity cards were allowed entry, a situation which is affecting many of small-scale traders. Remember, we told you that Australian government leaders have agreed to set a timetable for banning exports of waste plastic that is now shipped into regional neighbors, including Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. Waste disposal has become an increasingly pressing problem since 2017, when China barred imports of almost all foreign plastic wastes. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said only 12% of waste that Australians placed in recycle bins is recycled. We also reported on the emergency steps taken by China through the issuance of a red alert and suspension of dozens of train services in a brace for Typhoon Lekima. In the country's eastern coast on Friday morning, the storm turned into a Category 4 hurricane moving northwest at a speed of 26 km per hour. The storm, which was briefly a super typhoon on Thursday before it weakened into a regular typhoon, moved towards Taiwan's northern tip. Remember, we brought you a report that U.S. immigration officials arrested almost 700 people after a series of raids in the state of Mississippi. The coordinated operations targeted workers at 7 agricultural processing plants, allegedly not having proper documentations to work. Some children were taken to a local gymnasium after they came home to find their parents gone. U.S. President Donald Trump announced an immigration crackdown in June, saying millions of illegal aliens who had found their way into the U.S. would be removed. I am Adebola Brooksland Sunday. Thanks for your time.
President Muhammadu Buhari joins members of the All Progressives Congress APC in congratulating Chief John Odigi Oyegun on his 80th birthday, describing him as a true patriot and Democrat. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, President Buhari congratulates Chief Oyegun on the milestone which he has been highlighted with memories of great achievements like turning a permanent secretary at the age of 30, winning a gubernatorial election in the early 80s, and providing visionary early 50s, and providing visionary leadership to unseat an incumbent governor for the first time in Nigerian's history. President Buhari believes that as an active participant in Nigerian's political development and convergence for many years, Chief Oyegun's depth of wisdom, maturity, tolerance and penchant for always putting the interests of the nation above self should serve as a lesson to both the young and the old in the political scene. And here's a sports update with Amanzi Marcos.